Hi there. Wanted to do this an important update regarding the benign fasciculation syndrome that I suffered from. There's your clue. So the quick story, if you want to click off the video, is that after I don't know how many years now, it's been a couple of years. You can see from when I posted the first video. I should have looked. I'm sorry. A couple of years. I had benign fasciculation syndrome in my calves, especially. They would like that quite a lot, to the point it was you got aware of it all the time, and especially in certain trousers, if they touch your skin, touch the hairs, and or touching your calves. Anyway, so it's gone. That's the story. I did, as you can see from one of the videos, reduce the symptoms dramatically, but I did still have it, and that was through looking at your electrolytes. I'll just say that. Look at your electrolytes. Interestingly, so I'll carry on. I'll give more information. You can stay with me as long as you like, but I thought I'll put this video up at least. So the electrolytes I think, for me, were the solution. Stress could have caused it. You know what? I'm more stressed now than I was when I got the B when it started. I wasn't stressed then, I can tell you that. And I was super healthy. I think it was something else. Potassium. I had a problem with potassium before. I think I may have talked about it in a video, but it was I'd eaten too much licorice, and there's a link in some research papers that I found after I almost had heart failure, between leaching potassium from the system and licorice, and I was consuming a lot because I was trying to invent a natural, non-sugar, so low carb, um, salted caramel chocolate treat. And I ate too much, and I was drinking licorice tea, and I was eating raw licorice. So it was an addiction, and I had these problems. Anyway, what I wanted to say is that I'm big into growing my own food at the moment at home through microgreens. I'd recommend it, even though I was and would like to get back to being carnivore. I'm reminded of, I've done like natural medicine. I've studied it for 40 plus years, all sorts of um, variations through the mind, the body, through your diet and nutrition, and it's more spiritual stuff as well, and energy. Through acupuncture. I studied it in China. It worked, man. I was working in hospitals, proper hospitals, put needles in people who had all sorts of conditions that I'm not going to state because I don't want to be struck by YouTube. And I helped these people with the guidance of the doctors who were um, training us at the time in Beijing. But I'm big into growing my own food because beware of the food you eat is all I can say from that you buy. So I grow my own microgreens. I'm looking at the tent, that's why I'm looking over there. And I grow them in tents, big tents. And um, it turns out that the way you get big, healthy plants is through the sun kit. Electrolytes, your potassiums, your nitrates. I don't know whether they're all electrolytes, by the way, but I know some of them that I'm being guided towards using sometimes. I don't. I did once and I've stopped. I don't think the microgreens need them. It's like a camp of, yes, you can add nutrients, and I'm sure people do. There's nutrients if you're using soil, but I'm actually using sterile grow medium, cocoa coir, and I won't digress too much. But anyway, it's interesting that I thought, and interestingly, to make my plants grow, especially the people who grow the illegal stuff, and I think they're probably the experts. Funny enough, when I went to learn about mushrooms, growing medicinal mushrooms, lion's mane and oyster and things like that, um, it's definitely the people who grow the illegal ones who are the experts. I mean, those guys are all over it. and they pass information so beautifully. So you just go to them to learn how to get the basics for cultivation of these things in general. And they talk about adding carbon dioxide because plants need carbon dioxide. Yeah, you remember your science lesson? Carbon dioxide, that stuff that we're told to hate. Well, plants need it to grow, and it makes a huge difference. Um, so back to the benign fasciculation syndrome, it seems to have all gone. Um, and we never did leave the benign fasciculation topic, but it's all linked. And I got a 95% reduction through changing my electrolyte balance. And it took a bit of time to figure that out. I made a mistake with adding bicarbonate of soda instead of salt. I think it was bicarbonate of soda instead of um, a proper sodium. I can't remember which one I used in the end, but I use I can't tell you I use sea salt. So I look for a good, I think it's a Himalayan one we buy. I can't remember. The missus does that. I told her which ones to buy, and she remembers because I always have to look these things up because I just don't keep some information that isn't as important, and I can look that up quite quickly each time I need it. And I think probably your needs change as well. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot in salts, but more than we know. So that made a huge difference. I wouldn't say much else did really. I did. There were a couple of other things that I felt helped, but they weren't natural. I think a GABA supplement was one of them, which inhibits neuron receptors. A GABA. I can't remember the details of it. I've looked it up and researched it. Again, it's like not information I need to store that much. Apart from knowing that it worked quite well. There were a couple. I'm trying to remember a couple of other things that I used, but again, it's like I don't like taking unnatural supplements, and I don't trust people. I know, you've all worked in companies. You've all had those bosses who cut corners. Do you think those ones are any different? Pharmaceutical companies get fined billions and billions for fraud every year. um, so GABA worked, but it's not natural. So I went to the salts and potassiums and things and magnesium and even manganese. I think is one. I have taken a few variety of things, and I recommend it as well because our food is nutrient deficient and our water isn't water. And if you're drinking tap water, stop or at least filter it. We filter it. You've got to start. Our water is polluted over a million times. There's effluent, raw effluent, and poo, basically, and pee, and there's all sorts of chemicals. And you think of all the people taking pharmaceutical drugs, they're peeing that into the water. And do you know that it's all getting filtered out? I don't think it's being tested for. They test for some things, and they don't post all of their tests either. You have to get one of those data subject access requests, and then they'll give you the information. The other thing is so the water. I think is important. Hey, maybe it was when I started purifying the water, the twitching stopped because I was drinking tap water stupidly. I knew not to, but you just you forget, and you get lazy. I know not to drink it, but I was. I thought other people are drinking it. Oh God, stop drinking it. So the benign fasciculation syndrome, as far as I can tell, is gone. I haven't felt it for a long time, and I just checked there, and I can't see it at all. So I'm gonna say that it could have been as much there as it is now before, and I wouldn't have even known. I'll get the wife to have a look. She's got better eyes than me. But I didn't look too much. It's like if I'm not aware of it, I'd rather just not be aware of it. Um, but there's all sorts of links. I mean, it's potassium that um, is the potassium and salt work together to actually create the energy in the mitochondria, I think it is, of our cells that actually provide us the energy to live. Salt and potassium, the thing they tell us to reduce in our diets. And it's shown that we had huge amounts of these things in our diets before, mostly through our water. Our natural water, as it would run naturally contaminant free through the mountains that they pass through. The ones in in Bath, for instance, where all the Romans happened to want to found so important that they built these incredible buildings around it. I mean, if you haven't been to Bath, it's beautiful. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm going to say goodbye. Listen, um, tell me if you want to hear more, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Bath and the electrolytes that are passed into the water there and were in our natural water that we would drink, and isn't now. So therefore, we don't get those electrolytes, and they were huge. There were huge amounts before in our diets. I hope you find some of the videos useful and let me know. Okay, and I'll do some more. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. Take care. Love you all, and God bless.